So I remember when we first talked, it was 7 months ago when you first assumed the position of chief. How's it been going so far?
It's been going great. So I hit the ground running. I've done a lot in those 7 months. It seems a lot longer than 7 months. So it's been good.
And working with this department, you guys obviously are very busy. You have some challenges that you're facing as well when it comes to staffing and new recruiting. So how has that been going in these last 7 months?
You're correct. So staffing challenges are a problem across the country, specifically in the safety forces. So we've had to change our recruitment methods, and we've had to spend a lot more time and energy to seek out people that we felt would make good candidates that might have never been interested in the fire service. So we've gone to them and said, hey, you ever think about a career in the fire service? And we've brought a lot of those people to the table and hired them. So I've hired 2 classes since I've been here. That process was already going on when I came in, but it was complicated by COVID, by supply chain issues, by delays for a number of other things. But I'm very proud that I was able to get the classes hired. We had a class start in April and then one in June. So the one that started in June is ongoing, and they will graduate in December, but that'll put a total of 70 people on the line to help the staffing challenges, get the rig staff, decrease overtime, which in turn decreases the fatigue and the wear and tear on my employees so I can get a rest.
Right, it's important because if you're constantly out, you need to take those breaks to ensure that everyone can stay sharp, and it's really important, especially considering there are a lot of other counties that rely on the Toledo Fire and Rescue Department. So, I can recall this summer when we had a few different drowning incidents where firefighters had to go up to different counties and offer support. So, what does it mean to you knowing that there's such a strong reliance on this department?
You make a very good point. We have relationships with a lot of neighboring departments, and then even far-reaching, we provide technical resources and response for agencies that aren't large enough to have those resources, and we're happy to do so, and we're happy to assist them in however they need and or provide those emergency services when something happens.
And in terms of talking response times, that's something that it's a crucial part of the job because seconds really do count. So in terms of that, how is the department doing in that sector?
So that's a great question, and we are an accredited department, which means that we have to keep an eye on those response metrics, and we have to show that we can meet them in order to keep and maintain that accreditation, and we just did that. So we are reaccredited now, and that is something that we keep a close eye on to make sure we're meeting those metrics, to make sure the resources are in the correct places, that they're getting to scenes on time, and if there are delays, that we explore those and we fix them.
And it's definitely a big part of that community trust, which really is something that every department in the city is going to have to work towards and building and maintaining. And I know this summer that was put to the test because there was an incident where a firefighter had sent some questionable text to a teen, and for you to be a mother and had seen something like that, how did that make you feel?
So I don't know that I can comment on internal investigations. However, what I can say is that, when disciplinary issues arise, we fully investigate them. They go through the disciplinary process and they are handled appropriately.
Definitely. And being the chief, and you definitely have a lot that you have on your plate in this role. So in terms of ensuring that the community feels safe, what are some different things that you've been trying to emphasize to the community after that incident?
I think the important thing, and I don't know if you went past the Local 92 billboard, but it sums it up perfectly: ownership and accountability. So from my perspective, I want the public to know that I'm going to hold people accountable for their actions, and if there are instances where their actions violate our policies and procedures and they fall short of what's expected, that the public trusts me to investigate and handle it appropriately for the situation.
And I remember after our first interview, you talked about, in taking this role as Toledo's first female fire chief, there were definitely pressures in doing that. But looking at it now, has that at all changed? Are there any new pressures, or is it just being the chief now?
Yeah, I think the constant pressure, if you will, is that I'm ahead of the department. There's a lot of expectations for myself, for the department, and I feel like it's been a good fit. I feel like it's busy and we're getting things done, but it's not crazy or overwhelming to where I feel like, I made the wrong decision.
And this isn't your first rodeo with the Toledo Fire and Rescue Department. You've been here a while, and you've gotten to see how the department's changed these last few years, and you've gotten to, make more connections with people in the department. So what have you learned more about the department in this new role?
I already knew this, but now I have a greater appreciation for the fact that we have some amazing men and women on the fire department. Absolutely. And the fire department is one thing we're very good at. We are very flexible and adaptable, and we will rise to the challenge, and we will adapt to any situation. And that's one thing I'm very proud of. And we just have a great fire department with a lot of great people.
And talking about the future of the fire department, we talked earlier about recruitment and how those efforts are changing to, get more people in the fire service. So what does the future of Toledo Fire and Rescue look like in your eyes?
What it looks like to me is a qualified, diverse group of candidates that are here to serve the citizens of Toledo, because primarily we are public servants. And sometimes people forget that. They want to be firefighters or they want to be paramedics, and they forget that we're all under the guise of public servant, and that's what we're here to do. And people call us because they don't know what else to do. And it may not always be what we feel is a necessary 911 call or a life-threatening emergency, but we're here to serve the public, and we're here to help them when they don't know what else to do. So that's why we're here.
In public service, it can look different in many different ways. And one that comes to mind was just recently the Over the Edge event that you were a part of. So being able to do community service in that way and raising money for a good cause. Moments like that for you as chief, are they at all special to you?
They're absolutely special to me, and that's one of the parts I love about the job, is connecting with different groups and community partners and being able to assist them with functions like that and getting out in the community, talking to people. Actually, at that event, a nice gentleman came up to me and he started talking to me, and it was like we knew each other forever. He goes, "Oh yeah, I saw you on TV, and how's the job going?" And telling me about himself and things like that. And I generally love people, and I love connecting with people. So I'm glad that I bring that to the table, and I'm glad to assist these other organizations with their goals.
And definitely in terms of assisting different organizations, you have already established a strong relationship with the media. And doing interviews like this, I don't have 3 letters behind my name, but you took the time to sit down with me and do this interview. So in terms of reaching out to the public and being active with the public, why is that something that's so important?
It's important to me because it allows us to get information out to the public. It allows me to highlight the things that we're doing in the community and show the good work that the Toledo Fire Rescue Department employees are performing every day.
Definitely. And what do you want the public to know right now? If everyone in Toledo is watching this interview, what is it that you would want them to know?
So a couple of things. One, you touched on recruitment. So what I want everybody to know and tell other friends is that our recruitment period is open right now. So we are actively testing until the end of November for the position of firefighter. So if anybody's interested in the job or you think you're interested, take the test. Talk to the recruitment team, and we'd be happy to tell you all about the job.
And it doesn't hurt to take the test and just find out, because you never know what your future could be.
Right. I mean, we have people that never thought that a career in the fire service was something they could achieve, nor that they wanted to achieve. And once they learned about the job, they got really excited. They took the test. They started talking to some people. And I have a number of those people in my class right now, and they had no connection with the fire service whatsoever. And they're great recruits. They're doing a great job, and they're going to be great employees.
And we talk about how that can often be surprising, where some people think they want to do one thing, but they end up doing another. So I'm curious, what was your story, and how did you get involved with the fire department?
So I'm a little bit different. It's interesting because I went to a panel of female firefighters not too long ago in Akron, and that question was posed to the entire panel. I think there was probably 8 or 10 of us. And I think everybody except for myself said they kind of came upon it and they were not intending to do this. So I always wanted to be a Toledo firefighter. My father was a Toledo police officer, so I grew up, with public safety at the forefront of my family, but I always wanted to be a firefighter because my brother got involved in the fire service, and he started taking me to his Explorer group meetings and to the fire museum, and I was like, this is great. I get out there and do physical work. I can help people. It's different every day. So from the point where I was probably 10, I was going to be a Toledo firefighter, and that was my goal in life, and I wasn't going to stop till I achieved it. So that's what I did. And I got hired, I just turned 21 and got hired on the fire department. And then, here I am now in charge of the Toledo Fire and Rescue Department. It's kind of surreal.
It really is. It's just a cool story to hear. And what does your family think of this? To have someone who is the chief of the Toledo Fire and Rescue Department. What is then their reaction to this whole thing?
My family is very proud. Unfortunately, my mom and dad are both deceased. However, I have been a firefighter for a long time before they both passed away, and they were both extremely proud. Excited, for me to join the department and then progress through the ranks into supervisory positions. I mean, my son's 14 and he thinks it's kind of cool, but I don't think he fully understands what it means to be in a position of this caliber and be responsible for all these different things.
And I think that's a unique quality of being that age, being 14. You just never know things until later on you're like, wow, that's a big deal.
Right.
So what does the future hold for Allison Armstrong personally? You know, being here, the new chief of the fire department.
So the good thing is I have probably 13 years left to work, right? And so I hope to plan and achieve some long-term goals. And one of those things that I need to accomplish is a sustainable replacement and repair plan for our stations. You know, we have 18 stations. All of them are old and aging. So I want to make sure that we have something in place to ensure they get repaired and then replaced in the future.
And these stations like this where day-to-day work is happening, and some of those things you just fall to the wayside. So how is it that our elected officials in Columbus or even locally can help ensure that those repairs are being made so that we can continue to have a robust fire service?
Well, funding, right, is a primary issue. Stations are very expensive, and having 18 of them, it is very costly to repair them. It's very costly to build them. Trying to find land is difficult. So, you know, we hope in the future that there'll be some funding available to assist us in that endeavor.
And funding just continues to be an issue no matter the sector. So hopefully that's something that can be made a priority, because this is, again, public safety, and you guys are public servants.
Absolutely. Like you said, we not only work here, we live here. This station, all these stations, they're occupied 24 hours a day. So it's difficult sometimes to educate people what these stations really need to do and how they need to be for people to live here, because it's not like you come for 8 hours and you go home. No, people are here 24/7. They eat here, they sleep here. They need to be in good condition for them to live in.
And I did hear at one point that when it comes to equipment like this in fire stations, you don't get new stuff too often. It's a lot of the things that you have now that you have to take care of.
Right, so the equipment's very expensive, and I think it has a general lifespan of about 10 years. So it will get replaced if it's worn or it's ripped, but otherwise, you know, we try to take care of it so it'll last.
And when it comes time for replacement, is it difficult to get that funding or whatever's needed to get that new equipment, or is it just something that just rolls over and, you know, it's time to retire and get new stuff?
No, it's always difficult to obtain funding. I mean, we use a variety of sources through the city, through tax revenues and our budget, through grants, through other in-kind donations or grant donations. So we tap every resource we can.
Fire Chief Allison Armstrong, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.